Welcome back to another episode of Behind the Shield. I'm Gary Daemer, the host of Behind the Shield, and today I have our CISO in place and as a guest, and we're going to talk mostly around security in the new world of FedRAMP 20x and the DoD IL4 and IL5 perspective, along with some CMMC and some of the state and local work that we do today. So let me just ask a really quick question. I mean, how's your summer going so far? I'm just really curious on how your summer's going.
Well, summer was going phenomenal.
Yeah.
And it's still going great. Although just a little, they say as you get older that time seems to just pass you by.
I thought it stood still.
Yeah, right. And one thing that has really fast tracked for me is the release of CR26. We were hearing dates somewhere around August or the end of July, somewhere around
June,
August.
July,
we thought maybe it might slip even a little, but
I was thinking maybe August is kind of where I was at.
Well, the one thing I did not have on the bingo card was it being early.
Yes.
Although I will say, and I didn't have it right around the time of the AWS summit either in DC, but I will say after attending RampCon and seeing all the synergies around it, I guess I can kind of understand why go ahead and push the button. So yeah, that's been released and that's made things fun for us. We've had to fast track a few things, but adapt and overcome, as I like to say.
Absolutely. I mean, it helped set some deadlines for us, right?
Yeah. I think more than anything that's what I love is it made a lot of things real, right? It's one thing to talk about things on stage. It's one thing to talk about things on a podcast and be like, stay tuned, it's coming. It's out there now. It's live.
It's kind of here. It's kind of live.
Yeah.
And for us, we were planning on some fall rollouts of things.
Sure.
And some of our customers, we were trying to plan for the fall. For some 20X class C and some Class A stuff in September. So we're trying to rapidly move some of those up to a shorter timeline. But I still think it's going to be, unfortunately, September before most of those kind of get in the queue.
For sure.
But the other thing that I think it's really done for us is, we've been, I know on many podcasts, we've been talking about rebranding for InfusionPoints and really kind of moving ourselves from a kind of a pure services-based company to more of a product-leaning company. Maybe still not fully product-led, because services are still a big part of what we do. I know we were planning on releasing some of this stuff in the fall, and by no means are we ready to release any of this stuff yet.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. It's coming, and it's coming sooner than I think any of us were comfortable with releasing some of our rebranding pieces. Hopefully this will come out before the rebranding comes out as well.
Yeah, for sure. Just touching on that briefly a little bit more, 20X really shined a light on some things here at InfusionPoints in the direction in which we were going already. But it's really helped us prove to ourselves even the maturity of where we're at. And it's time, you know what I mean? And so, that fast-tracked our plans as well because now everything's, 20X is fast-tracked everything. We're out there on the FedRAMP marketplace. Go check us out, Class C certified. And, XBU40, people know the name. We were at the conferences and people were coming up and being like, hey, I've been checking out XBU40. And so that's exciting to hear. And so, hey, there's a lot more to come with that. So stay tuned on that. I'm just excited to get a new shirt.
Yeah. Oh, I still got my old shirt on.
Yeah, that's all right. I'll still wear it'll be retro at that point or vintage, I guess.
Vintage,
is that the word? But I'm excited to get the new shirts.
I almost wore the original logo today.
Yeah.
And I decided not to. I would wear a newer logo.
That one even precedes me.
Yeah, it does. It does. But it's going to be exciting. I know everybody on the marketing team and everybody on the engineering team and everybody across the company are like, Gary, what's going on? Why are you pushing so hard right now? Because the world has just changed and we need to step it up a notch or two.
For sure, so. Yeah, we were talking about that briefly in some of our leadership meetings that 20X has just really been the spark plug for a lot of things, but it's created an opportunity in the market as well for names that's it's leveled the playing field. Is that an okay way to say it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think it's an opportunity, and we got to strike while the iron's hot. And I think it's awesome, the synergy that it's created here at Infusion Points, and I'm
Right.
sure at other organizations as well.
Right. For me, I look at across all of our customers. We have a wide variety of
sure.
customers.
For sure.
Everywhere from DoD, IL5, FedRAMP high type customers to our state and local,
Yeah.
city and state customers that
sure.
we monitor and the VNSOC. And all of them have a different risk appetite. Every single one of them
sure.
have a different risk appetite. I know as we build and as we design things, we do tend to design our systems to meet, kind of all those requirements. In one area that I know we still kind of design to the high level, is really our security operations center, and really focusing on how do we detect, those events in the systems, and then how do we actually respond to those as well. And then beautiful for the 20x perspective is how do you prove that you do it over
Right.
and over again?
Yeah, I think that's the key differentiator there, right? At the end of the day, when you take a step back and look at it, security has no level, right? Security.
Right.
And so that's how we lead here at Infusion Points, even on the build side and the engineering side, right? Build it to the highest level, right? Ensure that it's secure. And then from the defense side, the guys don't look at a state and local government customer any differently than they look at a FedRAMP IL5 high customer, right? Security. And so it's just things like 20x or even the old, Rev 5 levels there. We have the low and moderates. It's just at which level you're proving security, right? And what evidence you're pulling to prove that to that level. But yeah, that's one of the things that we really pride ourselves here at Infusion Points on, is the fact that we build secure environments. We monitor, manage, maintain, operate secure environments. And they just happen to be FedRAMP compliant, CMMC compliant, insert whatever framework there, compliant. And I think that's important for folks to understand out there as well, that compliance frameworks, I hope, are not dictating the levels at which you're thinking about security, because again, at the end of the day, security is still security, and it still has to be in place, right?
Right. So you have to collect the right logs from the right systems. You have to be able to have the right rules, to be able to do the detection and the identification, aspects of that, and then the response as well. I mean, you're not responding, any differently.
Yeah, exactly.
Other than we probably respond a lot more in some of our non-FedRAMP.
Yeah, for sure. There is some beauty behind having a platform that's designed with that security at the highest level in mind, right? To clean environments, rather than
patches and
vulnerabilities.
Detection,
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, is those things. It's interesting coming from I guess you would call it commercial / healthcare organization in my previous life. Security was not at the forefront. Right. And so here in Infusion Point, security being the one thing that we pride ourselves
stamped on our forehead.
Yeah, it is what we do.
Right.
And so we lead with that. Whereas on the flip side, I come from an environment where security was like, I don't know if we got budget for that. And unfortunately, it gets pushed down to the bottom. And so you can definitely see the difference, right? Because when we look at some of our commercial organizations that we monitor for as well, they're the ones that are generally going to take the most time for our analysts as well. Going to have the most alerts coming in. The logging levels may not be where they need to be when they first come on board. But yeah, they just a little, can I use the word dirty? A little dirtier?
A little noisier.
No, I like, okay, noisier.
A little noisier.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, leading with security is what we pride ourselves on here in Infusion Points, and it makes our jobs within the SecOps and operating side a lot easier.
How do you figure out the way that you scale in the Security Operations Center? We saw some really neat and interesting things recently at the DC Public Summit, not only at the keynote, but also at some of the additional kiosks that we stopped at. As a matter of fact, I think you spent a lot of time at one particular kiosk.
Maybe.
And you might have got a little ramped up on on a few things that might have quickly,
Yeah.
focused your attention on one area or another. Because can you spend a little time talking about
Yeah.
how do we scale with the people,
Mm.
the rules,
Mm.
the tools,
Mm.
or
Or AI?
AI? There
Yeah,
you
yeah. I
go.
mean, at the end of the day, it's been very evident over probably like the past year really, but I really feel like I don't know, maybe in like the last 6 months, man. There's really it's picked up even more steam.
Mhm.
I know at the summit, walking into the expo, if you didn't have AI in your name or some type of AI tooling at your demo, then the question is who even are you?
Right.
And that's one of the things that we've been looking at even prior to the summit and over this last year really here at Infusion Points. And you're right, we can scale with bodies all day long. We could put more eyes in the room.
Mhm.
We could add more screens to the wall.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, there's still the human element, right? Our SOC is world class. I'd
Mhm.
put those guys up against anybody.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, they can still only handle so many alerts coming in,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
And automations go a long way in helping with that, right? Cleaning up logs and automatically generating alerts and things of that nature. But what AI has truly allowed us to do, and I said allowed us because we're already doing this,
Mhm.
it's really allowed us to have an entire SOC team. So yeah, we're leading now with an agentic SOC team, and what I mean by that is alerts come in, we're fielding it with an agentic SOC team. It's really taken our analyst. We're not, it's like, oh, everybody hears AI and they're like, oh, they're going to hire an agentic SOC team. What does that mean for me? Well,
I'm going to lose my job.
yeah,
I'm
exactly.
losing my
That's the
job.
question. No, it means you're going to operate at a different level. And so our analysts have actually loved the fact that now they're operating at a higher level. And it allows us to start doing remediation so much quicker. But really for our customer set as well, providing so much more in-depth analysis and information from these alerts and even from the reporting side as things come in. But yeah, I mean, we've seen very early on that, just from a scaling perspective, we're not going to be able to scale with bodies.
Mhm.
You start looking at the ratios with that. You bring 3 customers on, you got to bring a SOC analyst on. That just doesn't scale well.
Right.
But AI has really allowed us to circumvent that. And you're right. I believe anybody here at Infusion Points will tell you I've been on the AI bandwagon a lot,
A day or two.
a day or two, and the efficiencies, the speed at which it allows you to
The
operate.
correlation.
Yeah.
The accuracy. To
That's-
me, that is, because it can remember, it can go back and it can look,
For sure.
days and days backwards as opposed to,
For sure.
if you try to, okay, I think I remember seeing that a week ago. Let me go back and look. But you can quickly do the analysis with AI.
Yeah.
And it can pull out all the places that it sees the same patterns.
Yeah, you're exactly right. So our SecOps engineering team, they've been working on our agentic AI SOC team, and I love the fact that alerts come in, AI agent picks it up, it'll then pass it through several different agents, but it goes back and it'll come back and say, hey, 72 hours ago we seen this same indicator of compromise, or we seen this activity happen for this user. And I love the fact that based on the activity that's happening and based on some threat analysis that it's allowed to do, it'll help prioritize that alert and stuff as it comes in. And so,
And we're doing this right now for each individual customer, as
Yeah.
opposed, because we don't have the capability or the ability
Yeah.
to do cross customer.
Yeah, no, definitely. This
learning
is
or
this is
anything like
definitely
that.
customer dependent,
Right.
right? Not doing this just full gamut across the board. You're not getting, and I guess that's the beauty in it as well is the LLMs and how we can train it for each customer. So each data set is completely different, and so customers actually kind of get their own SOC team
Right.
that's fully dedicated to them, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I mean AI at the end of the day, not just from a SecOps perspective, but it's definitely changing the way that business is done. And the speed at which business is done as well. And I think that will even tie in. I think we're going to see some of that come into things like 20x, things like compliance and things of that nature, being able to prove that a lot quicker.
Right.
So,
right.
yeah, AI is definitely the buzz here.
And we're not just using it, in the actual application, right? We're
No.
also using it to help us develop
For sure.
the rules and the processes as well. So we're using good solid AWS tools with guardrails put on place to keep
Yeah.
the security security also very
For sure.
as well.
Yeah, the keynote when they were talking about Continuum or Cairo, I mean, the booth you were speaking of, they had to kick me out of the AWS Quick booth. I mean, AWS is definitely leaning into it as we heard that messaging, just as every other company I think should be or is looking to. So for sure, it's something.
It does really good with the reporting pieces as well.
Oh, phenomenal.
I remember some dashboards that you were just recently showing me around the MITRE ATT&CK framework.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah, visualizing data is kind of the specialty there, right? And giving you a unique look and analysis on it. That's what I love about it, right? And here's the most important part. I want to make sure that our viewers that are watching this podcast, AI led, but what we hold ourselves true to, U.S. citizens backed,
yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Always that human in the loop still, right? But our analysts are now just going to operate at a different level, right? And the way that what I love about it is the data that it's presenting back, the reports, the dashboard, the information that it's presenting back, it allows our analysts to really shift their mindset and think in a different manner. Like, oh, wow, I never maybe looked at that log, before and thought about it in this manner. And that's what's really cool as well. And we're seeing it in more and more of our tooling that we leverage as well, more AI analysis being built in. And so it's just something that had to happen for sure.
Cool. It's definitely helping us out in multiple areas. So, another one of our big focus areas is the auditing aspect, right? So, I'm trying to move away as much as we can from, the screenshots or the reading of the 14,000 page documents. And for us, unfortunately, we're going to have to continue to do that for a long while until the Department of Defense moves into more of an automated fashion for this stuff as well. So that whole concept, around kind of automated evidence collection, we're still trying. We've moved that into our Rev 5 solution sets with Audit Shield, and we've got a full gambit in our 20x stuff. So really that goes to this to the point of, build the system that is secure enough. But how secure does it need to be in order to pass the audit, right? So you need to be able to prove what you're doing and then be able to have the receipts, to demonstrate that you're doing what you said you were doing as well.
Yeah.
But the question I really have is where do we find that what's good enough in the FedRAMP 20x spot and how are we approaching that as well?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and that question doesn't just stick with FedRAMP 20x, right? That's security in general, right? Like what is secure enough? And what it boils down to is risk, right? What's your risk tolerance? It's not just what your risk tolerance is. What's your business's risk tolerance? What's your customer's risk tolerance? So when we talk about FedRAMP 20x and the risk tolerance there, at the end of the day, it's going to come down to, number one, the business needs. But the business needs are going to be backed by the customers, which are going to be the agencies at that point, right? So again, when it comes to those 20x levels or classes, as they're being called now, right? It's really going to depend on the risk tolerance of the agencies and the customers in which the CSP is looking to serve.
Right.
So, what takes me from a class A, B, C to then class D, right? Well, it depends on what agency you're looking to serve and work with. However, again, I will nail this one in, security. And so that's what I love about the fact that we go ahead and design with the highest level in mind, and we can just prove at whatever level you need to prove at.
I always found it somewhat amazing in some ways that a lot of folks really struggled going from FedRAMP moderate to FedRAMP high.
For sure.
And to be honest with you, FedRAMP moderate and FedRAMP high, very similar in technology.
Yes.
But with FedRAMP high came a lot of automation. So, that automation, you have to do it more often, right?
Yeah.
So and now the word is persistently. So you need to do it persistently. So is that really kind of a push to more of the FedRAMP high, kind of as often as you should be doing it?
Yeah, I mean, so it's funny you bring that up because let's go back. gosh, what's it been now? 8 months, almost a year, right? Pre 20x, right? Remember,
It's been about 16 months. Sorry.
So has it been that long?
Yeah, I'm telling you, time's flying.
Wow, it is crazy. I didn't think it'd been that long.
Yeah.
When you're having fun, every day feels just like yesterday.
There you go.
But I remember we were having
Groundhog
these.
Day. There's a lot of Groundhog Days,
Groundhog
right?
Day, yeah, for sure, for sure. But we were having this question, right? Because the SecOps team was the ones that's, along with our advisory team, primarily sitting through the audits with our Rev 5 customers. And every day in those audits, it was Groundhog Day, right?
Yes.
Because we're presenting the same data over and over, and the same screenshots,
Right.
running the same commands. So let's not forget, we were already trying to come up with a way, i.e. Audit Shield, of how do we regenerate this data quickly and easily? How can we automate this? Now, all automation or all persistently is or continuously is taking the same automation and just repeating it more often, right? And so we were already pushing that direction. So like I've said many, many times before, we've been 20Xing long before 20X existed. We were excited about that. But yes, I think you're exactly right. It is trying to push people to, it goes back to less of, prove your security, and it goes more to prove the operations or the operational
Security
state.
operational state.
Yeah, security
I'm a firm believer in that. Yes.
That's really what we're looking at here. And I just used a buzzword there. It's all right if I go ahead and throw it out there. I mean, it's coming with that rebranding, right?
Might as well.
I mean, we operated here at InfusionPoints on a build, manage, defend methodology.
Yep.
And one of the things that really back in the Rev 5 and when Audit Shield was coming around, we started automatically kind of operating in this manner, whether we knew it or not.
Yep.
And it was that prove piece.
Yes.
So now you're going to be seeing it out there. It's build and it's not even manage anymore.
Right.
Because what we just said, it's operational state, right? So build, operate, prove, defend.
There you go.
And so at the end of the day, that's really when we look at 20X, that's exactly
Persistent. Continuously.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we do. It's a cyclical thing.
Right.
Right. It's a cyclical thing.
It's a big old loop that never ends.
Yeah. Yeah. And so at the end of the day, our analyst, it fits hand in hand on the SecOps side, the prove and defend side, because at the end of the day, no matter what alert comes in, well, AI is now doing that analysis for us to prove to me what happened, prove to me that security was in place, or prove to me that security was not in place, right?
So how much more effective is a system security plan that to demonstrate your security, or is it more effective to have a script run against the configuration of that specific tooling?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to take you back to my hospital days. When we would update our documentation for audits, it was about a week before the audit,
Right.
and we review it and be like, oh man, that's not how we operate in the environment anymore.
Right.
We need to change that. So when we look at Rev 5 and you look at the traditional SSP documentation,
Now our customers get fully updated.
because of the SSP module,
Right.
right? Because it's tied into Command Center, and that lends itself more to the automation side than anything.
Right.
But again, doing it continuously and tracking it every day really goes back to that operational state. And I believe that it should give stakeholders and business owners that much more settling of a feeling, right? The warm fuzzies, as I call it, to know that at any given point in time, they log into the system, they can see the operational security state of their environment.
Right.
But what I love about it as well, it's a measurement tool as well of, hey, something changed. But not only that, we're now able to show what changed, when it changed, how it changed, and why it changed, and who changed it.
I don't know if you were on the call just a few moments ago where we were talking about MFA tokens as an example.
For sure.
And, if somebody didn't have an MFA token, could they still log in? And we said, yes, we could override that depending.
Sure.
And it would actually show it on the 20X dashboard that you had a failure there because that person didn't have an MFA token on there. And then, when they got their token, then it would show that they got their token back.
And so let's think about how powerful that is
Yes.
to the to the customer, the end customer, i.e. the agency at this point,
Mm-hmm.
right? Of being able to not only tell that story, but actually see that story in
Yes.
trending.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's what's so powerful
And if
about
that control was the one that you were really stoked about,
Yeah.
and you said, I want zero tolerance on this one right here.
And some agencies may,
Yeah,
DOW, I'm sure.
absolutely,
Right?
right.
But that's what's so powerful about the 20X piece, because I believe it is Class C that then starts requiring that trending over time.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Mhm,
And that's what we love about the Trust Center as well. Allows you to go out there and review the security state and the security operations of said product prior to making an investment in it. And not only telling me it's secure today, but see that, it's been secure for the last 6 months or last, up to a year or whatever, is very, very powerful. And I think that's, well, from a business perspective, it's a great marketing piece. Hey, look at our scorecard,
So I know we're a unique company and we do things somewhat differently, but did that SSP make you do things in a more secure way than having that red, green, yellow dashboard? What would I scream at faster?
Well, you're definitely going to scream at the red, green, yellow. Not so much the greens.
Right.
You like the greens, but those yellows and reds, and I mean that's really just, if you walk into Security Operations Center, what is it? You got dashboards all over the walls. You have dashboards for a reason, because it allows you to get that quick glance and know where there's an issue. Well, that's important, right? Because that then requires operationally that you make changes to change yellow to green or red to yellow. You know what I'm saying? So same thing when you go back and look at the CommMon piece, right? Vulnerabilities. It's the same piece, right? You had measurements for a reason. I think I mentioned on a previous podcast before about my time in the military, right? And in the Marine Corps, you know why they required your badges to be 1/8 above your pocket? Well, there's no specific reason for those of you out there wondering. Absolutely no reason other than the fact they said, I want it 1/8, but it's a measurement
It's a standard.
point. It's a standard.
Yep, it's a standard.
And so same thing here. We have a standard to measure against. But yeah, definitely the red, green, yellows are going to jump out at us other than the SSP documentation. Because guess what? The SSP documentation, unless you have a tool like Command Center, is not going to tell you whether you're red, green, or yellow meeting a standard.
I had lots of conversations while I was at the DC Public Summit.
Yeah.
And more than one, people didn't have a lot of faith in this. I've been a big proponent of this since the very beginning. And part of the reason why is because I have sat on the other side of audits for the past 12 years, probably 100 different audits on the other side, not being the auditor, but being on the other side.
Yeah.
That audit, in my opinion, this is just Gary's opinion, beat me up for this if you want, didn't make us any more secure,
Right.
than not doing anything. What made me more secure is because we designed it that way from the very beginning.
Yeah.
We didn't design for the audit. We designed for the standard, in that measurement.
Yep.
Right. So the audit proved that we met that standard. In many cases, most of our audits are very, very low findings. It's usually it's a vulnerability or something like that.
Right.
And a system. But for the most part, the findings in our systems that we design and build are very, very low. So we've never designed, our systems for the audit. So the audit is more proof, but that only happens once a year.
Yeah.
Right?
I was going to say, so it sounds like to me what you're stating is that you get the magnifying glass out once a year.
Yes.
And guess what happened once a year when you got the magnifying glass out? If there was something that was found, it's like, oh gosh, that sense of urgency kicks in. Oh, I got to fix this.
Yep.
Right?
Because we have
Sure.
things have been found and,
Sure.
and then immediately fixed.
Yeah.
For whatever reason why.
But now with 20X and that whole persistence piece can continuously, the magnifying glass is always out.
So there's no hiding.
There's no hiding. You can't sweep anything under the rug, but also it always provides that sense of urgency. And as a security professional, that's what I love, right? There's always that sense of, I tell the SOC guys, when things are quiet, I worry, right? There's a lot of truth in that.
I love coming here on the weekend. I was like, so how quiet is it this weekend? Oh, it's really quiet. I'm like, okay. Are you sure?
That's when you need to watch out.
Right.
But that's what I love about 20X as well. It's like, hey, maybe there will be some of those quiet times. I hope there is. But, in reality, there's always something that we need to be checking on. And I love getting that pulse every time I just refresh the dashboard, even for us. But I also think as well, going back to the customers, going back to the CSPs, going back to the agencies, they should really embrace it as well.
I want to go next is, so, how can agencies, kind of, trust this and feel confident that the systems that are leveraging 20x are really just as secure? The hard part is going to be how do they digest or ingest that information?
Yeah. So, I mean, number one, and we've said this, I talked to some folks even at the summit as well, at some agencies that work for some agencies. And my statement was this, that level of trust that we have to build with the agencies, that's up to organizations like us at InfusionPoints.
And the help of the FedRAMP PMO, right? And
the help with them,
yep.
and they're trying to help.
Yep.
Don't get me wrong. But it's really going to be up to us because at the end of the day, they're going to be leveraging solutions like ours. So what that means is we have to lead with education first.
Yes.
We have to educate them and help them understand how and why they can trust it, right? I've said this many times that at the end of the day, we design with the same level of security in mind. It's just how we prove it is differently, right? And so you're right. I'm going to go back to your comment that there was a little bit of, you've seen it at the summit, some resistance. It's kind of some of those, was it Gran Torino? Those moments where Clint Eastwood sitting on the porch.
Get off my lawn,
get off my lawn. And unfortunately, there will be those.
Yeah.
But if we can help break that barrier and help them understand that, hey, the lawn didn't change.
Right.
Right. And at the end of the day, security is still security. We're actually going to hopefully help you have a much deeper level of trust because we're going to be proving it more often.
Right.
But I think number one, it's education first. It's going to be education. And then what's going to end up having to happen, I believe, is there's going to have to be some agencies that are going to be the early adopters. And then they're going to have to help preach the message a little bit as well, if that makes sense. But I think if organizations that are really investing in 20x would get out there and show how much more efficient and quickly and secure, really, this can allow products to be and help products be, I think that is the direction we need to lead with. The agencies and the adoption of this, yeah, it's going to be met with some resistance. We're already seeing some of that a little bit, but there are some agencies out there that we're hearing about that are saying, hey, listen, this could make life easier for us. So, yeah, I think it's going to take time, just as anything will. But one of the things I think we're seeing with the PMO is that it's kind of like medicine.
Yeah.
It's not going to taste good at first. You're not going to like it, but it's good for you.
I think ultimately it's going to be a much better path
for sure
for most folks as well. So, well, cool.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you want to chat about today? That's mainly what I wanted to get across is.
Yeah. I mean, we got a lot of changes here coming at InfusionPoints. I won't say changes. It's always been who InfusionPoints has been. And I think one of the things that folks are going to be seeing, not to take us back to that whole rebranding thing, but we're getting ready to say the quiet part out loud. Right.
But we're still quiet about it, right?
Well,
we can't say it yet.
Yeah, we can't say it yet. But what we will, I will say is stay tuned. It's coming. But at the end of the day,
you might see some of it in some of our blogs that we publish.
Yeah. It's slowly trickling out.
Yeah.
But the one thing is that it's always who we've been here at InfusionPoints, and so that's the key message is this is just how we operate. It's not really. It's normal. It's been normal business for us here at InfusionPoints, leaning into newer innovation, newer technology, newer things that are out there. 20x, right? Really leading with that our XB40 platform as well. So they're going to see more of that. But the other thing is going back to that education piece. Got another webinar coming.
We do.
We're going to continue that webinar series where we're trying to educate.
Hopefully that webinar has already happened by the time this podcast goes out. So don't be afraid to go back and watch the webinar as well. It's going to be on CR26.
Yep.
If you've already registered for it and you watched it, hopefully you enjoyed it and you got some good information out of it.
Yeah, for sure. As always, you'll have Mr. Tanner Bailey leading the charge on that. And I'm just going to be, I'm a puppet on a string. Tanner, he knows that stuff so deep. Yeah, that's how I feel. Tanner just makes my jaw drop half the time. But it's awesome that we've got some SMEs in the area that are keeping such a pulse on how, because things are changing so quickly. But I will say with this as well, it's I hope people understand that the webinars to educate, but we are going to have some programs as well to help people enter market as well. That the whole Class A thing, we're going to be working with some things on that front. Some partnerships as well to be announced that will be coming out, and really helping folks be early adopters of 20x.
There you go. There you go. Well, I appreciate your time.
Always.
And as always,
Yeah.
You may not find me behind the shield, but you'll always find somebody at InfusionPoints behind the shield. Thank you very much for your time. I hope you enjoyed another episode here. Peace out.